Welcome guys, Duckville here. Welcome to a Terran vs. Zerg replay that was sent through to me. I have a couple of really good players here over on the Korean server high up in the Masters region, I believe, and verging on GM, I'm assuming. Down here at the bottom right hand side is our Red Zerg player here. He's actually from, lives at the moment over in New Zealand and is part of the New Zealand team. CHXM. It is, well, his name here is Outrun, but it is Crimson, who you may have seen in a couple of other games that I posted here on the channel. Used to play in Team Iris, but is now part of Team CHXM, along with a couple of other local folks over there in New Zealand. We'll see how he goes here up against his opponent. Unfortunately, I do not know the name, as is that Taiwanese? I think? I'm not actually sure, but obviously it's over on the Korean server. And we do have our Blue Terran here, who I'm just going to have to refer to as the Blue Terran. But we'll see how this one goes. Star Station, of course, a really interesting map for this particular matchup. It can provide some interesting scenarios just simply because this third base is very, very exposed. It's not exactly hard to get to. You can set this up nice and easily, but it has a couple of paths that you can run into to actually get here. Not to mention the fact that drops can come through the backside very easily for a Terran player and jump in here and you know, start putting on the pain inside the main base. So it does provide some really interesting games. I have seen some really long Bio versus Zerg games. I've even seen some long mech games here as well. We'll have to see how both of these players decide to play it out, but we will see that Crimson's going to quickly scout across. He's going to find that an whoa. Yeah, going to have a little bit of a battle here with this SCV, and it actually is going to be a CC first here from our Blue Terran players. So he's going to play for the economic game at the moment, and we'll see what Crimson's going to do to try and deal with this. Of course, he will be able to poke away at that SCV and should be able to kill it. In fact, there you go, bam, Bob's your uncle, and that is a dead SCV. So he has taken one out, slightly delays the command center, but not really a huge deal at this point of the game. In terms of that delay, like obviously, in time, it can be an incremental kind of thing where it does start to add up a little bit, but I mean, it's not too big. Let's just, we're not calling GG right now, I guess you could say. So we will see that he's going to continue to scout around, just checking out what's going on, confirming that there is a gas here along with the racks as well. So we are going to have a very an economically based but a very standard kind of game here from our Terran player. Meanwhile, on the opposite side for Crimson, still just setting up his drone count right now. We will probably see a very economic kind of style here from him as well. Transferring a couple of drones down. We may even see this third base come up in a pretty quick time. But just got to try and react appropriately to a CC first. There's a few ways that you can do that. A lot of people, if possible, will try and block off the low ground of the base there with that drone. But Crimson, unfortunately, his drone almost dying there, is going to decide to head in there and do the old extractor steal trick, which is being something which, well, hardly ever gets used these days. I remember a long time back in Wings of Liberty, it was used quite a lot. A lot of people were using it, especially against Protoss, actually, now that I think about it, because it was really detrimental to steal gas from a Protoss. But Crimson's going to continue to hold this extractor here, not wanting to finish it off for some of the newer folks. Why is he doing this? Well, it kind of limits the options that that a Terran has in terms of how they proceed with their tech straight away. Of course, you do need a lot of gas to start up tech stuff, like perhaps quote Banshees or moving straight into like Hellbats or something like that, because you're going to get the armory up and it costs a lot of gas. So if you take out the gas for just a short time, you do kind of limit it. But the overall thing here is that because our Terran player has already gone for a fast expansion play, it's not going to be... Here already wasn't really going too tech heavy, just sort of slightly restricting it here at this point. But Crimson letting the extractor finish now. He has a couple of lings at the front door, just gonna have a quick look to see what's going on here. Finds a bunker, just the single marine in there, and apart from that, there is nothing too fancy going on. But we do have, well, looks like the double gases down at the natural base have finished up. We'll probably get ling speed or a lair started up shortly. He is also gonna head up to the third base and grab that third hatchery now, as he wants to make sure that his economy is on track to keep up with the Terran, because of course when a Terran goes CC first, they start to really boom at around about the 10-minute mark, when things start to really swing into full production. When you start to get up there to around about the 40 to sort of 40 to 50 SCV mark, and things start to really just come to pass in terms of the production value that the Terran can utilize there. So Crimson needs to be a little bit careful here as to how he proceeds from this point forward. It's going to build up a couple of Evo chambers at the front door. We'll probably see those melee and carapace upgrades get started. Just confirming what's going on here. Finds that there is a tech lab on that starport. And this is a particular style, the old Banshee style, that has been making a little bit of a comeback. A lot of players are going towards the normal sorts of Hellion openings, but then also getting a couple of Banshees on it to back that up. Now, what you can do with this is you can come across, you can burn down some of the Queen health, and then the Banshee can go in for the kill, or perhaps you can distract the Queens and the Banshees can come in here and get some damage done on that mineral line. So there are you know, this is not exactly a new style, but it is something which sort of fell out of favor for quite a while. Especially when Hellbats became big and Widow Mines became big, it just sort of, you rarely ever get to see the Banshee style being utilized. So we've got now, again, a very economic style from our Terran player. Third command center has now been finished up. As we can see, his double E-bays down at the back will probably get cranking on 1-1 in just a second here. He's just waiting for a little bit more gas to get that started. Wants to try and nicely sync that up as well, just so that he can keep things in order and nicely timed out. But does have Stim on the way. Marine production has begun. We'll probably get some Widowmine production very soon as well. And he'll probably just look to sort of try and contain Crimson for the time being. Try and keep him back on this side of the map. Trying to make sure that he stays in this kind of zone. Oh wow, that was like the biggest circle I've ever done. Try and keep him in this zone across on his side of the map so that he can move down towards the third and take that base there. Because once he's got that set up, then he's going to be in a really strong position. You can really never underestimate a Terran player who sets up that economy really fast, because you soon will be heading up against a Terran player who's on, like, you know, 6-7 racks, producing wildly all those Marines and the Widow Mines that come with it too, and it is very dangerous to deal with. So Crimson will have to be careful about how he deals with that. We can see that lots of drones still coming out. He's up to a total of 65 right now, 69 in fact. And that's a nice total. We're just going to head up probably a few more, maybe another sort of 5 to 6 more, depending on how far he wants to go with it. But we do kind of want to get up there to the 70-75 mark as a normal sort of count for drones to have a sort of an efficient economy, I guess is the way to look at it. So we'll see how he goes, and if he is going to head in that direction very soon. This Viking has been roaming around, getting a lot of kills. Has got 2 Overlords down at the moment. Got to be careful about this supply block here at 110, but it looks as if Crimson should be fine. There's another 6 more drones, as we were mentioning before. Pneumatized Carapace, +1 to armor, and the melee weapons is all finished up. Some Lings looking to get some damage inside the third base, but not really any room to do that, with too many Hellions here blocking that off. And, well, as we can see, standard sort of stuff coming out from our Terran player. Lots of Marines, lots of Widow Mines as well. Where is combat shields? I'm not sure why he started 1-1, but hasn't actually started up the combat shields. I'm a little bit surprised about that, but we'll see, because he is going to push forwards now. There is the combat shields. We've got Stim that has just finished up as well. So this signals the first sort of point in time where a Terran can start to push across the map. We'll start to see rally points be designated normally. Like a lot of Terrans will actually send the rally point down towards the opponent's side of the map, and that is like, for me personally, when I look at replays, that's a really signature kind of time. When a Terran starts to rally across to the Zerg side of the map, that means that you are in a little bit of trouble. But Crimson, with lots of Banes, lots of Lings now roaming across, his mutas have come out as well. He has a total of 7 mutas here. Some of them getting a little bit low, but has been able to clean up this attack quite handily. And that'll be, well, that's sort of the end of that first push. Not very effective there from our blue Terran player. And the muta count from Crimson is going to increase with another 6 on the way. 2-2 on the carapace and melee attacks will be coming through as well. 8 more drones being added in to make sure that his economy is sitting quite nicely, because at this 4th base, well, the primary focus of this 4th base is to bring in gas. You want to make sure that you are bringing in enough gas to keep the muta count continuing up. And then you also want to be able to perhaps grab some upgrades. +1 to air weapons can come out, and you can also prepare to, you know, just stick with this mid-game situation where you've got to deal with Terran drops coming out every now and then. You've got to deal with, of course, a lot of Widow Mines, a lot of Marines as well. and you just want to stop the Terran from being able to take complete control of the game. You want to stop them from rallying across to your side and starting up the Terran terror train with the mines, the Marines, and then of course those medevacs as well. That is just very, very annoying to deal with as a Zerg player, I should say. So Crimson is just preparing all these nice, handy little things to keep him in this mid-game here as sort of a preparation, not necessarily to try and bust his opponent down, but as I said, just kind of a period where he wants to be able to make sure that he maintains a lot of control in this map. With creep spread now starting to head out, waves of those creep chimmers heading across, we'll probably see more of them start to head out very soon. He will be able to get that map vision as well, which is really important. You can see lots of vision through the center here. Even the queens are out trying to get some more creep tumors started. Very nice stuff to see that coming out there from Crimson. The Widow Mines coming across the burrow underneath the Mutalisks here, but not quick enough. We're still waiting for the Drilling Claws upgrade. That's only just started right now for our Terran player, so he's a little bit behind in that regard, but does have a drop that's proceeding across the right-hand side of the map. I do not know if Crimson has actually seen that one. We can see that actually he's got some units coming back, I think. Yeah, Lings and basically everything is now coming back to deal with this drop. So unlikely this is going to get too much damage done. The Spore Crawler helping out with a little bit of anti-air there as well. Muta is going to soak up one of the shots. A couple of these Marines are going to go down as well, but this gives time and a bit of space for our Terran player to start to move through the middle of the map. Wow, really nice splits on the Widow Mines there. I really think people need to be careful about bunching up Widow Mines because, well, there you go, that can happen. Lots of Widow Mines dying off there. Looks as if Crimson is on his way back and has secured this position yet again. Despite losing quite a lot of that ground force, that means nothing to him. All those Lings and the Banes that died off there, not too much of a worry. He's got this huge Mutaflock. This is one thing that a lot of Zerg players do need to be careful about, is keeping this Mutaflock alive. For people who ever watch Scarlet never overcommits with the mutas. You got to be very careful. Even just a couple of Marines, when they get up to 2-2, they start to be very, very dangerous to mutas. So you have to be very careful. You want to make sure that that muta count stays high. Anywhere above 20 is always quite nice, but of course you want to, if you can get even higher than that, that's even better. But now coming in, wants to do some damage to these turrets here. In fact, well, he's going to lose a couple of these mutas. I'm not sure about that particular trade there. A couple of turrets which are easily rebuilt for our Terran as opposed to those mutas, which did cost a little bit here. Looks like the Banes have caught out their prey in the corner. Looks like the command center is also in a lot of trouble as well. Crimson is going to be able to take this down very quickly. The command center now falling down to the ground, blowing up, and there is the hairdryer as well. So it does, well, he's trying to make, Crimson's trying to keep his opponent off 4 bases, which is always the key in this particular matchup. Right now we can see the Terran player splitting up reasonably well. Lots of those Marines backing off. The Widow Mines did get a lot of really good shots as well, which means that Crimson is going to have to back out for now. But back at home, he does have his +1 to flyer attacks on the way. I kind of feel like this one's a little bit late, but the Ultralisk Cavern is coming through, and as we can see, 3-3 is now starting up for the Zerg player as well. So as long as he can transition up quite nicely, keep his 4th base alive, and possibly even grab a 5th at this point would probably be quite a good idea, then he is sitting in a comfortable position. But our Terran player, now up at 2-2, 3-3 is not too far from completing as well, has a plethora of medevacs here available for him, but as you can see, wow, Mutalisks taking a couple of big shots there from the Widow Mines, and they will have to back off for the time being. Need to heal up. Crimson is, well, this big force that was coming down from our Terran player was certainly packing a lot of punch, but unfortunately did not come together at the same time. Crimson's been sort of darting in and out, trying to take out some of all of these forces here, and has done a really good job. In fact, even taking down those Mutalisks there, the medevacs there, and is going to kill off quite a lot of the units. And in fact, a lot of these medevacs, good night to them. Looks as if Crimson is going to secure a pretty big victory here, taking out a lot of these units, looking to split up some of those medevacs. Almost got the job done, but has taken out so many of those medevacs, now down to just a total of 5. But our Terran player continually reinforcing. Lots of Marines now coming across. Their 3-3 is just about to finish up with the Mutaflock. Bear in mind, this has now dropped down to 14. We have a couple more meters in production. 3-3 on the melee, and the Carapace is on the way. But wow, Crimson really struggling to clean this up right now, as the muta flock is now depleted to just 9 mutas at this point. So needs to be very careful here with the usage of those mutas. We'd like to see, of course, the 5th base coming up very soon if possible, but at the moment we're still just really, I suppose, reeling from dealing with that big attack. And I mean, he dealt with it, but you just got to sort of slowly resupply, be very careful, and make sure that you are dealing with all of these extra threats that are coming through. Bailings will smash down those Widow Mines there in the middle section of the map, and Terran player, as we can see, 4th base is now up and running. What you'll normally see from a Terran here is that they'll set up just a couple of turrets to make sure that this base is nicely protected from mutas as well, and in fact, there you go, right on time. He is going to really, wow, power down this base with so many mules mining this one away. But Crimson is going to need to pick up that 5th base, because the Terran on 4 is very, very annoying to deal with. I mean, you'll start to see some extra racks go down very soon. Normally people start sort of building them in this sort of random area at the front of the 3rd base, but already has 8 racks producing 15 Marines at a time, as we can see. Medevac still coming out, 3 Widow Mines at a time, and they are all going to be rallying together at this this sort of middle point here, where it gives him a nice position to defend this 4th base and also defend the 3rd off in that opposite direction. But Crimson is still struggling to get this 5th, unfortunately for him right now. Waiting for that hatchery to complete. We do have a lot of Ultras now out on the field. Some Lings have come across to try and get some work done on the left-hand side of the map, but no real way they're going to get anything done. But this has served as a small distraction, now pushing across to the right-hand side at that 4th base, looking to roll in with the Banelings. The Ultras coming in as well. That's not enough. It was not enough Banes to get the work done there. And wow, that one Widow Mine was pretty huge right now. But so many Marines are going to be chewed up by the Ultralists there. What? I do not know what our Terran player was doing there. Just loses all of those, loses all of the Marines, but did take out quite a lot of those Ultras on retreat. The Widow Mines getting a huge amount of damage done. But again, here we go. He'll charge it, needs to start a step back, and he does it a little bit better this time. It just actually deciding to move those units as opposed to before, when I do not know. I don't know if he had a mental blank or if there was lag or something. I did see he was clicking on the Marines, so I'm not really sure what the deal was there with that particular section of the battle. But now he's still sitting here comfortably on 4 bases. The Planetary will protect this one quite nicely. Ultras now slowly starting to fall apart here. This is actually looking a little bit worrisome here for our player from Checkmate. He's picking up his 5th base right now. He's going to try and get that economy pumping. Needs the gas from that base very, very importantly. At this stage, these Ultras are really costly. Adding in Banelings every now and then, and possibly even grabbing some Infestors as the game moves on, is what we really need to see here from the Zerg player. But he is stabilizing for the moment. A couple of Ultralists are going to come out onto the field, taking the total to 7, I believe, and the drone count currently sitting at 70, but possibly maybe in a little bit of jeopardy here as our Terran player is looking to push across the left-hand side of the map. A drop did come in and was looking to get some work done on this 5th base again, but it has been taken out by the mutas that were across to the side. And wow, lots of SCVs transferring across to the potential 5th base of our Terran player. The 5th base, guys, when our Zerg is still sitting here on just a barely mining 5th base at this point. So now we can see that the creep spread has really fallen back for Crimson. He's struggling to get it past this point here, as the Marines are doing an excellent job. And speaking of which, Bailey rolling through, smashing apart that big cluster of Marines, and that'll mean that well, the Terran player is going to have to fall back for now. Where is? We need extra racks. I'm not sure where his extra racks are at this point. He's doing a lot of work around the map, dropping in, getting some damage done at this 5th base. Should be able to take the hatchery out. Does he target it down? Yes, he does. Finally gets out of there, as we can see. The medevac going to head across and head towards the main base. Nothing in it, so there's no real threat there. But there's no Marauders out on the field. I'm a little bit worried. You see, like, any time you see, like, you know, 3+ Ultralists, you have to grab some Marauders. You just can't sit on Marines constantly, because A, you'll have problems with Lings surrounding. As you can see, you add in some Lings, they can do that, the hug surround, and then really kill off a lot of the Marines. Or you'll just have Infestors coming out at some point. A couple of fungal growths. Goodbye, Mr. Terrans. So I'm not really sure what the plan is here from our Terran player, but he's certainly doing an excellent job with the units around the map. But you just can't, you can't just sort of, I suppose, headbutt, you know, Ultras with Marines. It's just, eventually you are going to fall down unless the Zerg makes some really big mistakes here. But we will see that a couple of mutas have made their way across towards the 5th base here. The Marines constantly struggling in dealing with these Ultras. They just have to back up. You have to back up to a choke point, otherwise you're never going to be able to kill these Ultras. And now the Ultras have decided there is another target they may be able to go for. In fact, turning back around, trying to catch this cluster of the Marines in the 3rd base. Now in trouble, a single Ultra is going to chop down that bunker, and now the 5th base also did get taken out, by the way. And as we can see, lots of these units are now just pouring in. No Marauders, no ability to deal with these Ultras, and I mean, he certainly had the time to do it. I'm not exactly sure what the issue was here from our Terran player. Now the Veilings rolling through. The Widowmines do get taken out by the Veilings as well, and the rest of the Marines are now being chopped to pieces, and that is it. What a crazy situation for the Terran player there. Whether he forgot about Marauders, whether he realized to, I do not know. That was, but I guess there's a lesson there for the, I suppose, the younger Terran players. Always, once you start seeing those Ultras, you have to make transitions. You have to be prepared to have those Marauders out on the field. Otherwise, you're just never going to deal with them. We saw the Terran player having to constantly back up. He was trying to take advantage of the choke point here, but there was no way any highly skilled Zerg player is ever going to try and dart in towards a choke point like that with all the Ultras. So, great game from Crimson. I mean, it was sketchy at some times. Unfortunately, he was having some trouble getting a 5th base up and running, but eventually made it all work, and our Terran player kind of threw that one away a little bit, I would say. Hope you all enjoyed the match. I'll catch you all next time. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units, and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really nicely there. And for Minigun, he's been sticking with a much more